Hey everyone, Megan O'Leary here in Kansas City. I'm joined by UFC flyweight champion Demetrious Johnson, who defends his belt yet again this Saturday against Wilson Hayes. Hey DJ, how are you?
How's it going?
Great, how are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Let's talk about your fight that's coming up. This is a fight that we thought was going to happen in last summer. You guys prepared for it. You had a little knee injury, so you had to withdraw from that. So how much did you really know about Wilson Hayes before you started this camp?
Oh, obviously we knew about him because we were about to fight him the last time, obviously. And yeah, you know, still the same thing. He went off and had 2 good fights, and we're still looking forward to actually get this fight done with, you know, not done with, but actually make it happen this time. Just because last time I had an LCL tear in my knee, and I'm beyond the point of fighting when I'm injured. I
was just gonna say, that wasn't like a super serious injury, right? But it still required you to take some time off and to do physical therapy, or what were the steps there?
Yeah, it was a grade 2 injury, and yeah, like I said, I'm above, you know, fighting injured is, you know, it's not cool anymore. So with that being said, I had to get some stem cells, some PRP, do physical therapy, and make sure it healed, because a lot of athletes, they'll get injured and they'll keep on trying to fight and keep on fighting through. Then they get in this thing called the injury spiral, to where they fight, they win or they lose. The next camp, they go through their camp and they're injured, and it's just a tumbling effect. Don't mind about that.
Your opponent's known for his jiu-jitsu. That's, you know, his background is a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's got 10 submissions, you've got 9. Is this a case? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, is this a case of let me see what I can prove on the ground?
Yeah, I know. You know, it's not all that what you put on the ground, because you just said it. Like, I've never done one jiu-jitsu tournament in my life in a gi, and he's you know, black belt, and I just don't think that really matters. You know, I train with one of the greatest of all time in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Bibiano Fernandes. He's like a little baby jock around the ground. They used to train together all the time. He's a 5-time world Brazilian champion. He smiths guys all the time. So we've been training together for like 5 or 6 years, and I know what it feels like to have a man on my back and just have that type of style of jiu-jitsu. Sure. But it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
This was a little bit of a shorter camp.
I don't wait for my opponents. I've never waited for the UFC to come and say, hey, this is who we're gonna be fighting. You know, I look at the dates as a setup. Like, okay, so I want to fight, you know, April 15th. I'm gonna start training, and I started training, and then whether it was, you know, I know Wilson was fighting the 18th, I think, February 18th or whatever.
In Brooklyn, he fought, yeah.
In Brooklyn, whether he won or not, I was going to prepare for, you know, all I know, it could have been Joseph Benavidez, or it could have been Yusaki, or whoever it is. So I don't really train for, like, hey, I got to fight, thanks, I'll start training. That's not how I do it. It's like, that's the day I want to fight, I'm going to train for it and go. So it's perfect training camp, and I'm happy with it.
It was a relatively quick turnaround for you. You fought in December against Tim Elliott, and then jumping right back into camp. Is that something you want to do more often, is have these more back-to-back camps, or are you a guy who does still only want to fight twice a year?
I still want to fight twice a year, just because I think that's what caused my injury the last time I was here for this fight. You know, I beat Henry Cejudo in the first round, and then turned right back around to get ready for another camp, because I was going to try to do 3 last year. I was going to fight Henry, and if I would have beat Wilson, then I would have fought the winner of the Ultimate Fighter. So I'm in 3 fights in a year. As for me, it was a quicker turnaround for this fight, but I wanted it that way, just because I feel the first one out of the year is always my eyes the one, and then I always have a better performance the second one, because it's really quick back-to-back, quicker weight cuts, and it just feels better.
Well, talk to me about your last fight against Tim Elliott. Tim is kind of in a league of his own with his style.
Yes.
Very unorthodox, very different. I don't think that there are many people who could even mimic him in the gym, let alone, you know, sustain 25 minutes like that. Yeah. What exactly, when you watch that fight back, or when you think on that fight, what do you take away from that?
How big he is. Like, just the length, how awkward he is. Very durable, very gritty, a lot of heart, and that's stuff you just can't teach in the gym. I mean, he's been through the worst. He's fought the best of this division, me, Joseph, Dotson, and I think, you know, unless you catch him, you know, he's going to be there the whole entire time of the fight. So I like having those fights, because it makes you believe that you can keep on pushing and pushing and push the pace, and get in some tight situations and be able to get out as well.
Do you feel like there's going to be any similarity between that fight and this fight with Wilson?
It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. I don't put it past, you know, any of my fights. You know, I've been in deep water before when I fought John Dotson the first time. I mean, got dropped 3 times and just got back up like, is that all you got? Come on.
Bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on. And I mean, it's a fight. So, you know, I always tell people, like, when you go swimming and you're like, don't splash me, you're going to get splashed. It's a fist fight. You're going to get hit. So, you know, if I get taken down, it's totally fine. You get back up. And it's just like Daniel Cormier goes, you took me down. What are you going to do, John? What are you going to do? I'm going to stand back up. So things can happen.
What do you take away from the fact that Wilson trains with Dominic Cruz?
Nothing. They're two totally different body structures, different fighting styles. And the fact that I fought Dom 5 years ago is, you know, I'm a totally different guy than that fight. You know, night and day. But it's fine. It's fun one bit.
You said that you want perfection, and as you said, I fought Dominic 5 years ago. You've been basically perfect since then. You did an interview where you said that's what you're chasing. You're chasing perfection. But every time we watch you fight, it looks like perfection. I mean, truly, every time we think, oh, there's no way DJ can look better, you do. Where do you feel like, again, that you're most evolved for this camp?
I would say for this one, it's always different because, like you said, I'm always trying to strive for that perfection fighter, and I think that's, you know, Matt and Brad have ingrained that into me. So it's always different because every single person you fight, they always bring something different to the octagon. And so with this fight, it was more of a mental thing. I can't really, you know, talk about it because I have to wait till like the fight's over with, and I can sit there. I almost felt like I went backwards. Not that backwards in a bad way, but backwards in a good way, if that makes sense.
Okay, and a lot of times when people watch you and they analyze you as a fighter, one thing they say is you're so disciplined, but you also are an incredible fighter in terms of listening and executing what they're asking from you in your corner. How important is it to have that trust and to know whatever they're telling you to do, you just do it and make sure that it's gonna work?
It's very big because I spar with them. I would probably say I'm probably one of the guys who spars their coach. Like, you know, you have a lot of great athletes, a lot of great coaches out there like Dwayne Ludwig, Eric DeFaro. You have a lot of these coaches that they teach and they tell them how to do it. But like my coach, man, he was like, all right, this is what I want you to do. We're gonna spar. And then we actually do multiple rounds sparring where he's beating me up, punching, kneeing me. So there's not a lot of coaches out there, so it's always different. So when I'm fighting, Matt can be like, I know what DJs are capable of doing in this position. This is what I'm gonna yell and tell you to do. And when he's like heavy, certain way, smash, doing the call outs, I know exactly what he means because I've done it to him and he's done it to me and he's watched me do it to people in the gym.
Yeah, and it's worked so far. You're about to, if you win on Saturday, tie Anderson Silva's record. I know you're chasing the record to defeat it. How important is that to have your name in the history books as the most winningest champion in UFC's history?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, I think for any champion, I'm sure there's not one champion out there that's like, I got the belt. I don't care if I lose it next or not. And they're like, no, I want to keep it as long as I can. I like being a champion. So it's important, but, you know, no pressure. You know, like I said, I've done an interview the other day and I said I've far exceeded my expectation. A lot of guys are like, I want to do this for a living. I want to be a champion, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, I'm just going to fight and see what happens. And then, yeah.
It's worked perfectly.
Yeah, so far.
Yes, well, DJ, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure. Best of luck to you on Saturday.
Thank you, appreciate
Thanks.
that.